Rin, still confused and stunned by her condition, tried to recall her memories as well. Finally, she remembered them stumbling out of the hidden restaurant after being awakened by the couple. Rin had put on Akbab's heels, while Akbab had ended up wearing Rin sneakers. Neither of them was in their right minds. My shoes feel weird. I can't walk in these. And the ground's spinning, Rin mumbled. Ja, no kidding. Rin made it 2 more steps before swaying into Akbab and grabbing onto her for support. Let me hold on. Gonna fall. Akbab didn't argue. She just tried to steady herself and focus. You call a grab yet? Let's get home. What about your car? Oh, right. Don't drink and drive. You're being a good citizen. Rin reached up to pat her on the head. If they hadn't been completely wasted, that would have earned her rounds of yell. I'll call then. Wait. Phone's dead. Rin pressed the button a few times, but the screen stayed dark. Now what? I dunno. Can we walk home? Rin slumped her heavy head against Akbab's shoulder, completely wasted. Akbab sighed, paused for a moment, then offered, I'll call the ride. I'll have the driver drop me off first, then take you home. Okay. The 2 of them ended up riding back together. Akbab pinned 2 locations, her own condo first, and then left it to Rin to mark another. No one knew how long the ride took to arrive at the condo, but it was probably long enough to sober up a little. We're not done talking about work. We'll talk again later. Got it? Akbab said, as she stepped out of the car. Rin didn't respond. She just sat there silently, her expression a little pale. Please make sure she gets home. I remember your license plate and your face. I've also screen-capped your name and information on the app. Akbab told the driver to make sure that he'd get Rin home safe and sound. If anything happened, she'd make sure the man regretted it. But that wasn't the problem she should worry about at the moment. Earth. Rin suddenly threw up after battling nausea since they first got into the car. Jesus Christ, the driver yelled in horror. Oh no. Come on, how am I supposed to take more passengers like this? The smell. Get out of my car now. I'm not driving you anywhere. Sorry, sir, Rin mumbled weakly, still hadn't recovered from nausea. You can charge the damage to her. Akbab was about to lose it. Not only had she blown thousands on gas, food, and alcohol tonight, now she had to pay the driver for the damage too? Do you want to talk work now? Rin mumbled on the condo lobby couch. Not in this state. Just come upstairs. I'm embarrassed enough already. Akbab didn't think she could have a proper conversation with Rin right now. Even if she agreed to something, she'd probably pretend to forget it later. Still, the opportunity was here. So Akbab helped the girl up and brought her upstairs, half carrying her in a stumbling state. The moment they entered the room and Rin spotted the bed, she immediately went straight for it. But Akbab stopped her with a reflex that came from the subconscious. Nope. You're dirty. Do not touch that bed. You smell like puke. Go change first. Okay. Rin prepared to take off her shirt immediately, earning herself another scold. Not here. Bathroom's over there. The room owner walked to the closet, grabbed a set of pajamas, and tossed them to Rin, who caught them in confusion. Once the girl disappeared into the bathroom, a pair of sweet-patterned pajama shorts to change into while fighting to stay awake. But Akbab only managed to change her bottoms before collapsing onto the bed and passing out instantly. Rin emerged from the bathroom later, freshly changed but barely aware of where she was or who might already be in bed. She climbed up the bed and fell fast asleep right next to Akbab. Phew. They both let out a sigh of relief after retracing their memories and confirming nothing weird had happened last night, despite their worries. You should be thanking me for not leaving you to sleep on the street. Fine, thanks, Rin muttered, clearly not wanting to say it. But flat refusing seemed a little too rude. Wait, what time is it? Akbab jolted at the question popping up in her head. She turned to check the clock by the bed. 10 o'clock. Damn it. I'm late. She shouted and rushed into the bathroom, too frantic to care what Rin was doing or whether she stayed or left. At least it gave Rin a moment to finally breathe. The girl stretched, then got up and started to wander the room, partly out of curiosity, and partly taking a few liberties. Akbab's apartment was incredibly tidy and minimalist, with a Japanese vibe. Every detail looked perfectly thought out. Not a single thing seemed out of place. It was perfect in every perspective. Then the girl caught sight of a framed picture on the wall and froze in her tracks. Rin was stunned. It was a drawing of a traditional Japanese home, peaceful and beautiful. Standing in front of the house was a middle-aged woman, smiling warmly. In the corner of the picture, neat handwriting showed Kitakyushu 2022. Rin's feelings were stirred in a tangled mess as she stared at it in disbelief. She never would have imagined, never thought this picture would turn up here. Today, Akbab was far from her usual polished self. She'd showered and changed into fresh clothes, but her outfit, hair, and makeup had been put together hurriedly. Meanwhile, Rin had gone completely quiet, unusually quiet. She kept sneaking glances at Akbab's face, as if considering something. But Akbab was far more concerned about running seriously late. She kept glancing at her vintage watch, checking the time over and over. Worse, she had no car today since she'd left it at the Japanese restaurant. Forget about everything from last night, including the offer. Let's just pretend none of it happened. As for the clothes, wash them and give them back through Tetris. I'm out.
Wait.
Rin grabbed Akbab's arm. Have you ever been to Kitakyushu? Huh?
Why?
Akbab was confused by Rin's seemingly unrelated question. Just answer me.
Have you?
Yeah.
When?
I guess about 3 years ago. Rin stared at Akbab in silence, then slowly let go of her arm, not asking anything further. Akbab, in too much of a rush to wait for a reply, hurried out of the condo lobby, leaving the girl watching her until she disappeared from view. Akbab rushed into the office, shocking everyone with how disheveled she looked, unlike her usual self. Sorry I'm late. It won't happen again. Akbab apologized earnestly. Oh, it's just a little late. Doesn't matter. Chan waved it off. It matters. Being on time is part of being a professional, Akbab insisted, her expression serious. Anyway, how about Rin, Miss Akbab? What happened? Did it work out? Before Akbab could explain that she'd given up and let the opportunity slip away, the very person they were talking about casually pushed open the office door. Tertiz, who saw her first, blinked in disbelief. Rin. Akbab raised her brows, then turned toward Tertiz's gaze, and became just as surprised. Regarding the offer you mentioned, I've got my answer, Rin said as she stepped up to the young woman, looking determined. I'll join Jinta. She locked eyes with Akbab as she spoke, the image of the woman standing before her overlapping with her memory from years ago. Back then, Rin was exploring Kitakyushu in Japan. She wandered the city at her own pace, casually snapping photos as she went. Whenever she felt tired, she'd find a place to sit and rest. This time she bought a coffee and sat on a public bench to rest. At one end of the bench lay a sketchbook. A breeze gently flipped its pages, catching her attention. Rin reached out and picked it up, glancing around for the owner, but saw no one. Taking the liberty, the girl carefully flipped through the sketchbook page by page. They were drawings of various places and beautiful architecture from Kitakyushu. Rin was both amazed and impressed by the artist's drawing style. She whispered, "Gorgeous," especially as she reached the last page. She gazed, enchanted, at the same drawing she would one day see hanging on the wall of a woman's condo 3 years afterward. Rin had fallen for that drawing completely, perhaps because it reminded her of her own family. Nostalgia washed over her as she looked at the smiling middle-aged woman in the drawing. Wait, is this by a Thai artist? Spotting the Thai caption in the corner of the page, Kitakyushu 2022, Rin stood up, eyes scanning for a Thai person in the area. But there was no one. She had no idea the artist was standing just a short distance away, silently taking in the view from a lookout point, with tears streaming down her delicate cheeks. "You're serious? You mean it, right?" Tertiz asked, standing up and clapping excitedly. "I'm serious. I want to work here. Is this for real? You're not messing with us again, right?" Akbab still looked skeptical. "Oh, come on, Grandma. I mean, cease. Now that I'm serious, you don't believe me? Well, it's just odd. You were so stubborn about it before, and now suddenly you've changed your mind. Why?" Rin simply smiled and shrugged. "It doesn't matter why. The company wants me, and I've already said yes."
Well,
"I guess not. But I have 3 conditions. First, I won't do overtime, no matter what. Second, I won't take calls or respond to messages outside working hours. Third, you have to take me out for good food once a week." "What kind of conditions are those?" "If I don't get all 3, I'm walking away." Rin grinned wider. Akbab frowned, thinking hard. But when she looked around and saw how everyone in the office was practically holding their breath, she gave a long sigh.
fine.
"I accept." Everyone practically cheered in unison. Finally, Prim was delighted as if she'd landed the job herself. "So, did you change your mind and decide to work with Miss Akbab now?" Rin was happily munching on the curry rice she and her sister had ordered in, eating with more appetite than usual. "Do you remember when I told you about that trip to Kitakyushu, Prim? When I found that sketchbook someone left on a bench? Of course. You wouldn't stop talking about how much you loved the drawings and how you wanted to find out who the artist was. Well, I searched everywhere and never found them. Don't tell me you found the artist?"
Yep.
Rin smiled. She finally had her answer to the question she once asked herself when she first saw Akbab's drawing, whether it was possible to fall in love with someone through their art. Now, she could say it without hesitation. "Yes, absolutely. I found my first love.